Went for the flying knee.
Oh, there it is! Jiří Procházka! Baby boy! Welcome to the big show!
Welcome to Kyle Anthony's UFC betting show. I am Kyle Anthony, and welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the betting show for UFC 275, a title fight between Glover Teixeira and Jiří Procházka. We're going to be talking two plays. Of course, we'll be talking the main event, and I'm excited about this one here. We got some great fights in this main card, and we're going to get all into that today. But we're coming off a 2-2 weekend. Last weekend, another profitable evening, a little less than 2 units of profit, but over the last 18 weeks in 2022, we cashed in 13 of them of UFC events. So we've been making money. We're doing our thing. Plus, we went 2-0 on the show last weekend. So we just keep giving winners, and we got more today. Excited about it. But I do have this weekend a 5% best bet package up. It's my max play. I don't give too many of these max plays out. Over the last 15 months, I'm 10-4 on my max play bets. Very excited about it. Have some other plays on there too. So if you want to get into that, link down in the description. But we are going to be talking main event, and main event is going to be one of my client plays. It's not going to be the 5%, but it is going to be a client play, and I'm excited to break this one down here. We got Jiří Procházka versus Glover Teixeira. This is an interesting fight here. Really excited to break this one down for you guys. Right now we've got Jiří. He's minus 210. On the other side here, we've got Glover. He's around the plus 170 mark. And like we always do, we're going to talk about 3 fights for each fighter, see what we see if one fighter can expose the other fighter, and if the line makes sense to place a wager. So we're first going to talk Glover Teixeira here, and 3 fights ago he fought Anthony Smith. Now, boy, was this one kind of how Glover has pretty much kind of gone through his last few fights, getting hurt and coming back and getting hurt and coming back, and this was no different here. In this situation here, he goes in, and this was a spot where I do believe, and you kind of heard some of the cornermen of Smith really looking to just press, put it on, put Glover out. And Glover with the chin, there were some, question marks about it, getting rocked a lot. So this was where really Smith was going for broke in that first round. I fully believe that Smith and his corner, the plan was press him, look for the big shots. Smith is good, on the ground. He was going to look to kind of push forward a little bit, landed some really big shots on Glover, but again, he was able to survive, he was able to kind of get out of it. But going into that second round is really where it was absurd volume that Anthony Smith had in that first round, even into that second round, but slowly but surely, he just started dwindling away. Glover did what he does, goes in there, gets takedowns, gets top control. This fight probably could have been stopped rounds before it was. It was a stoppage for Glover in the 5th round by absolute mauling. This is, if you guys remember, where Smith is losing his teeth. It was just a complete mess, but Glover goes out there and absolutely dominates totally Anthony Smith. So not much to break down too much on this one here, but it was all Glover dominating Anthony Smith. He gets a TKO victory in round 5. 2 fights ago, he fought Thiago Santos. This one here was another situation where Glover gets hurt, Glover comes back. And a spot here where Santos is just got power. And this was early, looking to push forward. Glover tried to cut that distance, didn't want to be, does not want to be standing in the pocket trading with Santos. And Glover gets rocked. And not only did he get rocked once, he kind of battled himself to kind of come to and kind of get himself together. And then he gets rocked again. And somehow, once again, Glover picks him up, gets the takedown, and then all of a sudden he's in full mount. He was about to be put away seconds ago. He comes back, gets on top, starts mauling him, and not only did he maul him in that first round, because pretty much the entire round, he goes in that second round, and he went right away for the takedown, got the level change, again, mauling in that second round, was on top of Santos the entire round. And then going into the 3rd round, pretty much the same thing, but Glover got clipped again. Glover got clipped and was able to kind of come to again, but gets the takedown, gets on top of Santos. Santos gave up his back. He gets the choke finish. 3rd round submission victory for Glover. So you have it there. And then most recently, Glover fought Jan Blachowicz. Title fight here, and this was one here where it's interesting, kind of. I mean, these two guys really got along very well. I mean, that was one thing. They were pretty buddy go leading up to this fight. You know, you do see that, but they were like next level, like giving gifts and shit to each other. But right away, Glover went for the takedown, and he got that takedown right away. Again, goes for the takedown, gets it. You know, and Jan's not an easy guy to take down. He is not an easy guy to take down at all. He gets the takedown, and this was a spot here where really Jan figured, you know what, I'm not gonna look to work out of this position or give up my back or do anything like that. He pretty much kind of latched on, just kind of kept Glover close, didn't want him to look for the submission, didn't want to take any ground and pound. There was definitely a lot of that going on in there where he just wanted to survive the round. That was pretty much Jan, I got to survive this round. Glover is just lethal when it comes to submission finishes. So pretty much just some ground and pound from Glover in that first round. But going into that second round, once again, kind of the same thing here. Jan looked to kind of defend the takedowns, kind of stayed on the outside, pushing forward. Both of them were getting hit with some pretty good shots there. You know, again, Glover kind of got clipped a little bit again there. But even when, Glover landed a nice big, nice hook on Jan, and Jan kind of pushed Jan back a little bit. And once he did that, he pushed for the takedowns, got the takedown, got the back again of his opponent, sinks in the submission finish. He gets the second round submission victory over Jan Blachowicz. I mean, this was a situation where, it kind of looked like, hey, is this going to be the same kind of thing that he did over the last few fights? It ended up being that. He gets the victory over Jan Blachowicz and becomes champion. On the other side, we've got Yuri Procházka. 3 fights ago, he fought CB Dalloway. I am not going to get into this one. He fought CB Dalloway. This was in Ryzen. And CB, a lot of people, we do remember some of these fights. And the interesting part of this is kind of the beginning, really what happened before some of these knockouts, I think is interesting because a lot of this is highlight reel knockout stuff that Yuri is putting out there. I mean, he is just flatlining some of these guys. But here, it was a first round knockout for Yuri against CB Dalloway. CB Dalloway, 2-5 out of his last 7. This guy is definitely not a top caliber guy anymore. But for as long as this fight lasted, which was like a minute and 2 minutes, something like that, CB was landing. I mean, if you go back and look, I mean, the awkward style of Yuri is there, where he's kind of just this movement is very, very awkward. He's always kind of grabbing his wrist a little bit before he punches, throwing his opponents off, keeping his hands down. Really just kind of is very just unorthodox when it comes to that. But CB was landing very hard leg kicks starting this fight. I mean, he landed about 4 or 5 of these things, and that last one just before CB was flatlined really looked like it hurt Yuri. I mean, this is something that, again, Yuri does not really check leg kicks. He just doesn't really check them. And CB was landing early, and then he landed some shots up top. He was kind of landing. Yuri lands one shot, boom, flatlines him, fight over. But again, there was some openings there. CB was a little bit better, maybe a little more competitive. But Yuri goes out there and gets the knockout victory in round 1. 2 fights ago was his UFC debut against Volkan Ozdemir. Now this is another one here where the knockout was pretty impressive, but first round was a little bit interesting. And if you go back and look, now really in that first round, Volkan was landing. Volkan was also landing. He was landing some big shots. Yuri was overly weird in this fight. I mean, yeah, he was grabbing his hands and doing these things, but there were spots where Volkan would land a pretty good shot on him, and he would kind of just stand there and look at him. Like Yuri would stand there and look at him, and kind of like Volkan would just fire another couple combinations and would kind of, get Yuri to kind of back up against the fence. And he just kept doing that the entire time, kind of this showboating. He wasn't really landing too much. I mean, there were some good shots back and forth, but I thought Volkan was kind of landing the bigger shots. The only thing, again, that this is what I think every fighter has to deal with if they're, fighting Yuri, is the awkwardness. And you could tell that Volkan was so out of rhythm in certain spots where even though he was landing, he could, he almost didn't want to step on the gas because he was worried kind of what was going to be coming back at him. He was, kind of like, what are these angles? What are these movements? And just overly weird stuff in that round, in that fight. But I thought that he won that first round. I thought Volkan did enough to get the first round, landed some good shots. Even hurt, looked to hurt Procházka in the fight also. But going into the second round, it was quickly over as Volkan comes in. I think he had a little bit of confidence where he kind of was like, okay, I think I've got this guy figured out. And all of a sudden, Procházka throws a head kick, wobbles Volkan, and boy, did he brutally put away Volkan in that second round, puts him away, dominant fashion. But that first round leaves some question marks. And even again, like, he has that power. That's something that Jiří has. He's got this explosive power. But boy, if he doesn't land it, it becomes a little bit of an awkward kind of dance for him to kind of get inside. Either way, he goes out there, gets the knockout victory in round 2, impressively against Volkan Ozdemir. And then most recently, he fought Dominic Reyes. And this is a fight here where I thought that Jiří kind of took it down a notch a little bit, as in just the craziness. And again, I'm telling you, if you want to go back and look, that fight was against Volkan was so awkward. You know, it's almost like, why is he even doing? It's almost wasted movement and allowing himself to be hit after he got hit. It was just kind of weird. But he really kind of honed that in, and I think he kind of realized that, you know, I'm at the next level here. I really got to be on my A game from start to finish, and that's what he did against Reyes. I mean, I thought he looked as good as he could look. I mean, crisp shots, unorthodox, again, movements, always having his hands down, and that's always going to be something, but the speed and the power at which Jiří fires these shots, I mean, it's pretty impressive. It's pretty damn impressive, but he was picking apart Reyes. Reyes did not look himself, I'm going to be honest there. You know, even when they were kind of face-off, I mean, it almost looked like Reyes looked like just drained. He didn't look like he had much body weight, much muscle, where Jiří is just, you know, he's like an action figure. He's all cut up. I mean, he's a big dude, an imposing guy, but he was teeing off on Reyes in the first round, and then going into the second round, landing more big shots, and then, you know, even though he was landing big shots, Reyes still clipped them again. And that's something that you do see in here too, where, you know, Jiří can be hit. Jiří definitely can be hit, but even though he fought out of it, and I think that shows a positive for Jiří. It doesn't, you know, he gets clipped, but he can battle out of that. He battled out of it and throws this insane spinning elbow, another brutal highlight reel knockout for Jiří, puts him away in round 2. So there you have it there. So with that being said, I think the first thing here in this fight that we got to talk about is Glover's chin. Now, this is the path. This is the way for Jiří to go out there and get this victory. Is really, can Glover withstand these shots? We've seen Glover get rocked. We've seen him kind of come back and again, utilize his grappling. It's almost like, you know, when he gets hit, he blacks out, and all of a sudden he's on top position on his opponent. And can he do that, Jiří? And can he withstand these shots from Jiří? And the biggest reason that Jiří has his success is this unorthodox, awkward style, punching, grabbing his wrist, moving around, keeping his hands down, almost like, hey, come hit me, and then he fires back. And I think that a lot has to do with Jiří wants the chaos. Jiří wants the chaos. So he's leaving his hands down and saying, hey, try to hit me, but I'm gonna be quicker on the counter, I'm gonna be a lot more rangier than you, and that's how he's gonna have success. That's how he's had success, even with guys that, you know, again, even with like Volkan, you know, Volkan was almost like, what is this guy doing? And he's trying to throw the big shot. All of a sudden, he gets a head kick to the head. You know, so that's kind of where this guy kind of sits. And the mix of power and speed that Jiří has also is just really high. Just the explosiveness level that he has is really high. And the concern is there for the chin. The concern is definitely there for the chin, and that's his path to victory, going out there and getting the big knockout. But also the part of it, like we kind of talked about here, is that Jiří's hittable also. You know, it's not like this guy is just technically sound and he's, you know, very crisp striking and movements. I mean, again, yes, he is. His striking is, you know, he's got some good striking. There's definitely no doubt. But it's a little bit different. You know, it's a little bit different. He can be rocked. He's there to be hit. He wants to be hit because he feels, hey, you hit me, I hit you, and you're going to be the one going down. That's kind of the way he's able to kind of pull his opponents into that. And, you know, again, like we said, Glover has an iffy chin as well, too. But a big part of this fight, and when you're kind of piecing this fight together and kind of possibilities of certain situations or what could happen or how the fight can go, and that's kind of how we're going to be capping it. And this is a situation where Jiří does have some big forward pressure. And he does look to kind of, you know, if a guy's hurt, he's going for it. Or at any times, he's kind of looking to go for it. And I think that the forward pressure could provide opportunities for Glover to clinch up, to level change, to latch on. And the fact that Jiří has this wild kind of combinations where he's firing these big shots wildly, and again, if they land, it could be lights out. But if he misses, he's very much throwing himself out of position. And a guy like Glover, who is extremely experienced, a vet of the game, he is the kind of guy that he knows. Again, there's no secret here what Glover's looking to do. And he's going to look to get these takedowns. And this is going to provide a landscape for the clinching. As long as he can get his hands on Jiří, that's all that Glover's looking to do. He is not looking to stay at distance. And, you know, although, you know, Jiří doesn't really check leg kicks or maybe a little bit hittable, it's not that Glover is this high-level striker. He's got striking. You know, striking is definitely not bad. You know, I think people kind of downgrade that a little bit more than it is. But it's not that he's going to win some striking match with Jiří, but the forward pressure, the pushing forward, that's going to provide opportunities for Glover to get these takedowns. And also, let's just talk about the grappling part of this. Obviously, the path to victory and is grappling for Glover is miles ahead of anything that Procházka has. Jiří, you know, wants to be standing, he wants to be striking. But we've seen in spots that Jiří has been taken down. He's been taken down by lesser opponents that don't have the grappling credentials of Glover. And I think that also provides a little bit of something there too, to say, listen, if he gets it down, this could be a very bad spot for Jiří. Not going to be an easy, you know, getting in there, cutting distance. But again, he may not need to cut distance. He may not need to get inside where he's got somebody like Jiří who's going to be wildly thrown, who's going to be he's going to be the one cutting the distance, where I think that provides, again, opportunities for Glover to get the takedowns. And also the fact that if he does take Jiří down, we've seen the way that Jiří gets up. He does not get up. He's not this guy who's doing the, you know, a sweep or these smooth transition reversals. A lot of times when he gets up, it's just pure strength. It's just pure strength. He muscles his opponent out of there. And from there, a lot of times he gives up his back. A lot of times where he's pushing out, getting out of some kind of grappling situation, he is, again, the explosiveness is there, so it helps him. But a guy like Glover, that's not going to work against a guy like him. If he gets him and he gives up his back, the fight will be over. We've seen it from even higher level guys where they've given up their back to Glover, and Glover just sinks it right in, and the fight's over. I think that's a big part. And also, you put on top of that the fact that Glover has good cardio. So the question is, can Jiří, throughout a 5-round fight, as long as this fight goes, repeatedly stop these takedowns? Can he just stop it and then counter, and stop it and get taken down and then counter? Because Glover is going to get a takedown. As long as he doesn't get sparked early in the fight, Glover's going to get a takedown, and over the time, it could start wearing down the power, the movement, the unorthodox style that Jiří really brings. It may slow that down to where Glover's even more comfortable. And that's going to be, again, a spot where he can really fuel these takedowns and keep doing it. And that's, again, he's able to do that when he's rocked. So he's able to keep doing that when he's got the cardio to put those level changes in there. So I think there's opportunity here for Glover Teixeira here. So I like Glover at plus 170. I think this line is a little crazy. It's not that I don't think that Jiří has a chance to win. Of course he does. He's got power. He's athletic. He's explosive. He's got a lot of great things. But I think this takedown is going to be the path. And it's not, I'm not telling you something that you don't know, because that's going to be his path, but I believe Glover is going to get it. I think he's going to get these takedowns. I think that Jiří is not going to be as comfortable as he has been with some of these guys who don't have takedowns. I mean, Dominic Reyes took Jiří down, and he is nowhere near Glover when it comes to the grappling credentials. So I like Glover Teixeira plus 170 to get the job done. I think he's going to be able to grapple him, get the takedowns, and hunt for the submission and find a way to get this victory here. So as my client play and as my free play is Glover Teixeira plus 170. And my other play is going to be Manel Kape versus Rogério Bontorin. We've got Kape, he is minus 250, and we've got Bontorin, he's plus 195. So quickly going over this one here, obviously you've got Kape. He is explosive striker, athletic with power. He is quick combinations, light-footed. The guy really brings it. He's a showman out there. He can knock you out from any position, flying knees, spinning stuff. I mean, he really brings it. He's a stand-up, just elite level striker. I would put him on the elite level striker where he is, and he's really kind of exploded on the scene. Even in his losses, he's looked good. You've got Bontorin on the other side here. He's kind of got this herky-jerky kind of style, a little bit awkward movement, but he's got some nice countering, got some grappling credentials, and that may help him out here. And that's the way that, how do you stop the explosiveness of Kape? How do you stop it? And the biggest here is going to be the grappling. And if you look at Bontorin, he actually has good wrestling. He actually has good jiu-jitsu. And that's where he's able to, I think, in a fight like this, find a way to win. He's able to latch onto a limb. A lot of times here he's catching kicks, he's grabbing an arm, he's just able to kind of muscle his opponent down. He does have strength where he's able to get these takedowns. He's got good top control. And again, this is, Kape's a striker. He's, again, it's not always, who's going to win it. Can he get the takedown or is he going to spark him standing? That's going to be the issue here. But the fact that we've seen some vulnerability with Kape also off of his back, and you've got a guy like Bontorin who does have good top control, is going to help him in this spot too. And also the fact that you have seen that, again, we just talked about it, how, Kape has knocked people out with these jumping knees and these things. I think that provides actually a nice opportunity for Bontorin to get a takedown. Now, it doesn't mean that, he's going to catch him in the air when he's throwing a knee, but I think that if he misses, he's going to be out of position. I think that's going to help him here. Kape likes to be flashy. I think the flashy stuff actually may hurt him in this fight here. If he stays outside and just works, calmly works, I think he could beat Bontorin, 30-27 in a striking fight. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think Bontorin's going to push forward. I think Manel Kape could make a mistake. I think that's where you're going to see some of the opportunities for Bontorin to get in tight, get his hands on him, and look for the takedowns. Plus, Bontorin's actually not a bad striker. I mean, again, he's unorthodox, but he's not that bad of a striker. Not Kape's striking ability, but he definitely is not that bad. And also Bontorin, he's 1-3 of his last 4. He lost to, which I think is pushing this line. He lost to Kara France. Kara France is doing big things now. Ray Borg, crafty veteran, and Royval. And then Royval fight, by the way, Bontorin won that fight. Bontorin won that fight easily 2-1. You could debate 3-0, but easily 2-1. Somehow he lost that fight, and that also is pushing this line. The fact that he lost that fight, and he's 1-3 of his last 4, where in reality, he probably won the fight, thought he looked pretty good, and he doesn't get the victory. That's widening this line also here too. So I think this line is off here. I think this fight will be a lot closer than the line indicates, which makes me say dog or pass in this spot here, and I like it as a value play. I like Rogério Bontorin plus 195. I think he's got the wrestling, at least the ability to strike a little bit with Kape, and then get inside, look for takedowns, control positioning, find a way to win also here. So I like Rogério Bontorin plus 195 as my free play. So those are my free plays and client play for UFC 275. I've got my 5% best bet package up right now. Link down in the description if you want to take a look here. I'm looking at maybe 4 or 5 plays, 4 or 5 client plays for this card. So let's see how we do. Feeling great, making money. And for those of you who saw me on Twitter, listen, I'm back. I feel great. No more Rockstar. No more. I'm done with that stuff. Just maybe some Tito's and soda instead. But this is Kyle Anthony's UFC Betting Show, and I'll see you next time.